welcome to the Always Betting Podcast. I am your host today, Pisky. I am not with the Godfather. There's been a last-minute change of plans. He had to tend to an important family emergency. So today it's just me. You got just me. This is the first time I'm ever doing this. I'm going to try to look at the camera as much as I can, but just getting into the swing of things of trying to record this and talking to myself is going to be a monumental task. It already feels awkward. I'm already looking down, looking up, don't know where to look. I don't have the Godfather screaming in my ear, so this is going to be challenging. But first and foremost, obviously, Familia first for the Godfather. He had to tend to something, and obviously anything family related comes hell of a lot before this right here, and anything to do with work and stuff like that. It's always Familia first. So let's hope everything works itself out on the Godfather's side. Speaking of Familia first, Christ, I just got crazy messages this morning waking up from one of my buddies out in Phoenix. Going to give a shout out to Church. Good guy. I've been growing up with Church my entire life, really. We grew up in Chateauguay together in Quebec, and at a relatively young age, him and his family packed up and had to move out to Phoenix, and he's been there ever since. His mom, his dad, his bro, and I got word this morning that his bro just randomly passed away, which is extraordinarily sad. What are you supposed to say to people in these circumstances? I do not know. But I just wanted to do a quick shout out and let everyone know that we're thinking about you guys. This is something that I can't even fathom. I have a brother and a sister, and if I were to ever lose one of them, I want to go first. We're all going. Okay, we're all going. I think we can all agree on that. But man, oh man, I cannot fathom losing one of my siblings. So yeah, big thoughts, big feelings out to Church and his family. Here, if you need anything, I know we spoke a lot this morning. I can't believe it when it's someone younger that goes. It's just really hard to wrap your head around. So I cannot even imagine what the family is going through right now. But I just want to let them know that obviously the thoughts and the prayers and everything, my family sends their condolences. They were all shocked this morning when I shared the news with them. And man, life is sometimes throws wild curveballs at you, and you just got to find a way to continue moving forward. And that's not easy at all. But yeah, okay. So now that the most important stuff is out of the way, I'm going to try to find a way to put this all together into a podcast episode for you guys. Today, we're going to talk about something that, shout out to our guy, SC, on X. He asked for this a while ago, and I said yes. I just didn't really know how to kind of present it. And now that I'm here by myself, I feel like I can talk one-on-one with the camera, with you guys, and put it out there. I don't want to say too much because it is a little bit of an underground kind of thing that happens in the sports betting space. But I'll let you know that it does happen. It is a possibility if you're looking to get into this industry with some professionals of the industry. Betting partnerships is what we're going to be talking about. For those unaware, obviously you guys know that I've been in the industry for an extraordinarily long time now, going on, I guess, 20 years. This would be my 20th year. I started at 2003 working at an offshore sports book, BetUS, and have been really entrenched in the industry ever since. And these betting partnerships that I've learned about, I've come across, relatively new. In my world anyways, relatively new to knowing that they actually exist and people do these things. So I'm going to share as much information as I can, as I'm comfortable with. Um, I'm not going to say if I'm actively involved in betting partnerships. I've played with them in the past. I may play with them now, but that's not the point of this. This is not talking from experience. This is talking, I mean, I guess it is talking from experience, but it is me just basically giving you guys the information I know that exists out there and how these things work. First question, obviously, is what is a betting partnership? Professional betting groups have one common problem, and that is getting volume down on the bets that they're making. They always want more volume. I know they get a lot themselves, but they're always looking for more, right? If you have an edge, if you have an angle, you want to throw as much volume as at it as possible so that you can monetize it as much as possible. And that's why these betting groups go out and seek betting partners. So, I got everything. I got notes everywhere. I'm trying to trying to make this flow as easily as possible, but it is not easy. What are the traits you need to have as a bettor to get involved with a betting partnership? So the way it works is the betting group will send you the bets. They will send you what they need you to get volume on for them. Okay, so as someone that works as a bettor, a mover, okay, mover is a common term that is used in the industry. The common traits a mover needs to have is you need to be disciplined. Okay, you can't be chasing losses. You can't be like any of the basic stuff that is required in betting to win. Okay, so you can't be chasing your losses. You can't be pissing your money away on your own opinion and stuff like that. You can't have an opinion in this. Okay, this is the group's opinion. Your job is solely to place bets. So your job is not to comment on what the bets are, what your opinion of the bets are, what you think should be done, what you think the group should be betting on. No. Your only responsibility is to take the information you're given. Okay, what's tonight? San Francisco 49ers, whatever, random. You take that information and you simply bet it into the sites that you have available to you. There's no thinking involved. Okay, so that's where I think a lot of these betting partnerships kind of go wonky, because sometimes you have like these degenerate bettors that want to get involved with some of these groups, but they have ego, they have opinion, they have tendencies. You got to throw all that out of the windows. That cannot exist in a betting partnership. Your sole responsibility is to make bets. Okay. Patience. Sometimes working with these betting groups, it can be a little bit rocky, right? There is variance. It does go up and down. So you need to have the patience to be able to ride it out over the long term. These professionals know what they're doing. In the long run, chances are it is going to work out well for everyone. Very good chances. But there are rough moments. So that is something that you have to be accustomed to. You have to be okay with taking this information, putting it in, and just knowing that this is a long game. Okay, so that's something that's extraordinarily important. I always tell the Godfather this. If you want to get involved in this kind of stuff, you have to be a robot. Okay, there's no thinking that goes into it. You cannot think. You cannot say, oh, I don't really agree with this bet that they're making. No. They tell you to bet something, you go and bet it. That is your job as a mover, as a runner, whatever this betting partnership is. Now, if a group brings you on for your expertise, that's different. That's completely different. That's not what I'm talking about here. The betting partnerships that I think a majority of you would want to get involved with would be, you just have to make the bets on the information that you're given. That's it. You're a partner. You make the bet. You shut up. That's it. Okay? So how do the betting partnerships deals work? Two concepts: free rolls and equity. Okay, so a free roll is you are never on the hook for losses. That's the concept of a free roll. As long as your accounts keep winning, you get a certain percentage of those winnings. Generally, I'm going to say ballpark 20%. I've seen as high as 30% free rolls. Again, not responsible for losses at all. So if the group and you form a partnership, let's say the group loses $1,000 out of the gate. You are not responsible as the mover, as the betting partner. You are not responsible for that $1,000 if you're on a free roll. Okay. But what has to happen is that group needs to win back that $1,000 before you can start earning. I hope that makes sense. I'm probably butchering it, but this is the way a free roll works. So if the group is losing, that means you're in the red. Nobody gets paid until that red comes back, and then everything in the green, you split on the predetermined amount. Equity is different. Equity in a betting partnership is you can generally get up to 50-50. 50% of every bet made goes to you personally. 50% of the bet made goes to the group. If you lose, you lose. That's on you. That's on the group. They're responsible for their half. You're responsible for your half. That's it. That's all. 50% equity, regardless of which way it goes. Now, whose money do you use? That's another common question that comes up. Whose money do you use? Generally, from what I've seen, you use your own money. Okay, you're responsible for funding the accounts, sending in your ID, getting accounts verified, all that stuff. That's your responsibility. I have heard times where the group will provide that liquidity. It really depends. It really depends which group you, and it really depends on their comfort level with you as an individual. Do you have a history of working with these groups? Are you someone that's easy to work with? Do you have a reputation? Have you met these people before? Right? If you're just a stranger on the internet, the chances of people sending you money to bet with, pretty slim. Okay, you need some sort of rep. You need some sort of street cred. So if you're using the group's money, generally you're looking at a free roll best case scenario. Okay, because they're not going to send you money and then give you 50% of the equity. That just doesn't make any sense, right? So generally, you're getting a free roll if they give you the money to play with. If you're using your own money, 50% partnership is probably on the table. I hope this is making sense. And I would be way better off if this was something on like TikTok Live or something where you guys could shoot me the questions. I'm much better like that than doing a 25-minute, whatever this is going to come out to, 25-minute stand-up performance. But we're getting through it. Okay. So we've covered what is a betting partnership. We've covered the traits that you need. We've covered the difference between free rolls and equity partner. And we've covered what happens when you use your capital versus the group's capital. Okay, most of the time, you're going to need to use your capital because there's a trust thing going on, right? You got to build the trust. How do you settle if you're down, if you're using, whether it be the group's capital or your own capital, and the betting group is down? How do you settle? Or if you need to send funds to the betting group because they won and you owe them money now, how do you settle that? The most easiest, obvious way, and you hear me scream and yell about it on here all the time, cryptocurrency. Crypto has been a godsend for this kind of stuff. Okay, very easy to send. There's no red tape. You're not worrying about reaching limits. You're not worrying about getting calls from the bank. None of that stuff. Crypto is definitely the way to go. Some groups have connections everywhere. Maybe you can settle with them in cash, depending on where you live in the world. It depends on who has connections where, right? Some groups are based out of Europe. Well, how do you get cash to Europe? Do they have people here in Toronto? Maybe not, right? So sometimes cash is possible, but not always. Crypto, definitely way easier than cash. Bank-related transactions, I personally don't recommend going that route because of the problems I've had in the past. I do not do anything nefarious with banks, but because I deal with a lot of offshore sportsbooks, especially in the past. Nowadays, okay, maybe they understand a little bit better, but back in the day, I would go into the Royal Bank. I've told this story 100 times, dealing with bank wires to places like Nicaragua, to Island of Man, to Costa Rica, uh, all kinds of different places. The banks would freak out. They've locked my bank account on several occasions with investigations, fraud investigations, money laundering accusations. At one point, I was on a terrorist list because I was sending large sums of money. Large, okay, not even that large. 1 to 5K tops. I would never go over that threshold because I didn't want the problems. But yeah, I actually got put on a suspected terrorism list at one point with the Royal Bank. So these are all stories that I've told in other episodes and whatnot. I highly recommend don't go through the bank. Don't be using banks to do anything sports betting related. Little bit better these days with the emergence of how gambling has gotten popular, especially here in Ontario. But when you're dealing with offshore entities and you're sending money back and forth with bank wires, first of all, it takes way too much time as well. And there's a crazy amount of fees involved with it, right? You can sell cryptocurrency depending on certain chains and stuff for literally like less than $1, sometimes less than a penny. Not so much at the bank. You're looking at 5 business days, red tape, interrogation, ID, like it's crazy. So my advice to you, stay away from the bank. The most important question that I think you're probably all asking yourselves right now, how do I find betting partnerships? How do I get into this circle? Where do I find them? Can you just go and apply to these places? The answer is probably no. The most obvious place, and again, I talk about this a lot, BetBash. BetBash is where all these professional betting groups hang out. You can go there for a week. You can get a feel for them. You can ask questions. You can hang out with them. You can drink with them. BetBash is amazing for that because what happens when you're there, right? I just mentioned drinking. Everyone's having cocktails. What happens? If you're a shyster, the shysterness is going to come out when you're drinking. 100%. You're going to start talking shit. You're going to, the ego is going to come out and the betting group is going to see this and they're going to say, you know what? I'm not working with this clown. There's no chance of that. And vice versa on your side. If you meet someone at BetBash, okay, and they've had a few drinks, they're going to start talking, and you'll be able to quickly sniff out if these guys are legit or not. There's going to be people like myself there. There's going to be people like the Godfather there. Our extended familia, we know a lot of people in this circle. I will be able to send you to certain tables, to certain conversations with 100% accurate trust and say, if you want to get involved, this is the group to do it with. This is the individual to go and talk with. Now, do all these people operate online? They do, but all the nefarious, weird ones that are probably going to steal from you in some shape or form also operate online. So do I recommend linking up with groups online? Probably not. Meeting in person is very important. Now, if you can't do the Vegas thing at BetBash, if you can't meet someone in person for whatever reason, can you do it online, maybe via Zoom or something like that? Yeah, I guess that's a possibility. If you want someone like myself to vouch for you, you got to be like an elite individual that I sniff nothing out that could be shady or anything like that, because in this industry, your name is everything. So there's no chance on God's green earth that I am going to recommend someone to one of these betting groups if I don't 100% believe that you're good for it. If you want to talk more in depth about something like this, I do have an option in my bio. It's a one-on-one consultation. It's not cheap. And that's by design because I don't really want to do this. But one-on-one consultation, it's available in my bio. If you want to take this seriously, paying that $350, I know that you're serious. So right away out of the gate, that's a thumbs up. If you think it's too expensive, then you probably don't have the bankroll to get involved with this to begin with. I'm just going to be straight with you, okay? But it also is a defense mechanism because I get these requests a lot of people wanting to pick my brain and talk about these different groups and these opportunities out there. I don't have time to do it with everyone. So if I see that you want to pay for this, and obviously that means you're serious, then I am happy to take the time and do it. But I am not forcing anyone to do this, okay? I would much rather see you at Bet Bash, shake your hand, have a drink with you, and introduce you to some of these juggernauts in the industry that are constantly looking for people to partner with to get down more liquidity. I think that's it. I think that's it. I hope this helped. Okay. Again, shout out to my guy SC that asked for this. If the Godfather was here, I wish he was here. He could bounce off some questions off me to go back and forth to make this a little bit more digestible and more like a conversation. But unfortunately, again, familia first always. Okay. So I think that wraps it up. Just in conclusion, what is a betting partnership? A betting partnership is something that a group wants to connect with individuals that have a lot of different places to bet, that they can get down liquidity for the betting group. That's what a betting partnership is. Some of the traits: you need discipline, you need patience, and you need to be a robot. No opinion. Your sole job is just to bet. That's it. How do deals work? Free rolls and equity partners. Free rolls means you make money when the group makes money. If the group is down, they cover what's down, and until that red figure gets made up, until they make all that money that they lost back, nobody makes any money. When they're in the green, then you divvy it up. Usually about 20% of profits, sometimes as high as 30 if you want to use your own money. And the equity partner, if you have your own money, you have a good solid bankroll, and you're like, yes, I believe in this group, I want to do it just like they're doing it, I'm pretty sure they would set up a 50-50 partnership where half of every bet going in is yours, half of every bet going in is theirs, and they do all the work. That's the beauty of these betting partnerships. I think it's great for people that don't have the time to sit there and go through the algorithms and put together these databases and back testing and all this shit that goes into doing it yourself. Let the group do it. Your responsibility is getting down. I think that's way easier, and it's super fun. You get to watch the games and stuff like that. And the best part about it is when it goes wrong, you don't have yourself to blame, right? There's okay, not that you would blame the group. They know what they're doing. They're professionals. But what I mean by that is that it's a lot easier to move forward because it's like, okay, these guys are professionals. They're betting very big. I know a lot of other people that are involved, and things aren't going right now. But I'm confident they'll figure it out. Where the contrary of that is like everything's on your shoulders, right? You have to think everything. I think personally it's a lot more stressful doing it yourself, my opinion. How does settling work? Crypto's the way to do this. Okay, so make sure you know a thing or two about crypto before getting involved in one of these. It's going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. And where do you find these betting partnerships? Bet Bash is the way to do it. Online, potentially. If you want to pick my brain about it, that's fine too. But the best way to do it, honestly, Bet Bash. That's what Bet Bash is all about. There you go. All that in 27 minutes. Okay. Now, I am going to transition because every week we like to give our shit picks. Our shit picks are 7.5 points away from the bottom of the pit in the Circa Million contest. Can we make up 7.5 points in, what do we got? 15, 16, 17, 18. 4 weeks. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to do our best. Now, the Godfather, because he is so dedicated to the cause of doing this podcast and working in the betting space like we do, he sent me 3 picks that he has interest in. God bless him. Always thinking of getting the job done first, which makes him the beauty that he is. So the first one that he sent me, so I'm trying to lose. I don't have him arguing with me. We went 3-2 last week, if anyone's been following. Painful. I am really trying hard to lose. 7.5 points away from 100 grand US. That's what we're going for. I said maybe if we went 5-0 last week that I would change it up and try to go for the 4th place or the 4th quarter prize, which I don't know what the total is. It's not 100 grand, I'll tell you that. But we went 3-2. So I think we got to stay on course. We got to go for the boobie prize. That's what we're here to do. We're here to lose. So I am trying to lose these picks. That's what I'm doing. I'm sure it's been clear in the weeks prior, but this is the game plan going forward. So the first pick that he wanted to take is the Houston Texans. And I'll explain to you, since it's just me here doing this, I'll explain to you what I look at when the Godfather gives me his picks, if I reject them, or what I look at to take mine that I'm trying to lose at. So Houston minus 2.5. See, I look right away at Chris and Pinnacle and a couple sharp sports books that I learned about in Vegas. I know Sheba is another very sharp one. Bet Amapola is another one. These are two credit shops. Okay, for those unaware that what credit shops are, bookies. They're bookies. They run on a credit kind of deal, and not kind of deal, actually credit deal, and they're individual bookies. They're not somewhere where you can just sign up and deposit to. These are private sports books, and some of these private sports books deal with a lot of very sharp action, so that makes them extraordinarily sharp. Bet Amapola and what was the other? Sheba are two of those places. Okay, so those are the four that I primarily look at, and these are things that you're taught at BetBash, so another great reason to go. So the Houston Texans, the Godfather wants them. They are currently 2.5 minus 121 at Chris, bookmaker, and 2.5 minus 20 at Pinnacle. So that means they are going to charge you extra vig if you want to take the Houston Texans. That means they favor that side. So that means we ain't going that side. So the Houston Texans is a scratch. We are not going that way, Godfather. Too bad. So sad. The next one that he wanted was the Kansas City Chiefs minus 4 going into Cleveland. I'm going to give him that one because I think every square bettor on planet Earth is going to have the Kansas City Chiefs in their teasers this week and in their parlays. So, Godfather, you get the Chiefs. It is still pretty much a minus 4 across the board, and even at the sharp places, I think that just my naked eyes are telling me that number should be way higher. Again, I'm not a handicapper, so I don't really know. But just looking at that, I know for a fact that is going to be the square pick of the week. So the Godfather, you got it. The next one he wanted, Washington minus 7.5. That is 7.5 across the board. They are playing at New Orleans. I'm not sure what he sees there. This feels like kind of an opinion-based pick. So guess what? You get it. You got it. Get it. Got it. Whatever. 7.5 Washington Commanders. So minus 4 Chiefs, minus 7.5 Commanders. Those are two locked in. I did a little bit of homework before hitting the record button here because I knew I would be blabbing for a while, so I didn't want to keep you guys here with me going through every single pick, hemming and hawing. The first one that I am going to take is Jacksonville. Jacksonville is +3 in the contest. Right now at Bookmaker and Pinnacle, it just ticked up to a 3.5. Now, what I'm looking for is Circa's contest numbers to be different than what the market is, especially when it comes to key numbers. The key numbers, 3s, 7s, 10s, 11's pretty important. Once you get up to that high, 14, you're getting up there. But 3 and 7 are the two big ones in NFL. I like 4 as well as a key number. Now, I don't know what they are these days. You got to go tune into maybe Plus EV's Twitter account or something like that. They have statistics on all this. But just to the naked eye, obviously you guys know if you've been tuning in every week that I don't take this very seriously. So I'm not trying to split the atom here. But I'm looking for 7s and 3s predominantly when I'm looking to pick losers here in the contest to try to win the boobie prize. So Jacksonville being 3, and I see 3.5s out there. Okay, give me the Jags +3 because if I were to go and bet it right now, I would probably get 3.5 somewhere. So +3 is coming home. I'm taking that because I think that according to the markets and the sharp sports books out there, it seems to me like the Jets have a pretty good chance of covering that -3. So I want to lose with the Jags. The next one, same type of scenario. I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to take the plus 2.5 because it looks like that game is about to go to 3. DraftKings, super public, super square, so I don't even know why I just said their name. That's a mistake. They're already at the -3. But again, the big boys, bookmaker, -123, Pinnacle's -118, Sheba -122, Amapola -119 if you want to take Carolina. So everyone's on the Carolina side. The sports books, the sharp sports books are saying we're going to charge you extra if you're on Carolina. So they want Dallas money. When they want something, I'm going to give it to them because I know that the sharp books are usually right. Okay. And by usually, it's in the 50 percentile somewhere. You know, this is not like, oh, they're right 70% of the time. No. Okay. They're right more often than they're wrong. Put it that way. So the fact that they're juicing the Carolina side, I am going to take Dallas plus 2.5. The last one that I'm going to take that caught my eye, and I just want to make sure before I lock it in, there's no other ones that have moved since I hit the record button here. And no, it looks like we're okay. So the last one I'm going to take is the Minnesota Vikings -7. And the reason why I'm taking them is because currently at Bookmaker, they are -101. So you only have to lay 1 cent of juice. If you take the Vikings at Bookmaker, they are +102 at Pinnacle. So you actually get money back if you take the -7 at Pinnacle, and even money at both Sheba and Amapola. Okay, so they're basically telling everyone they want money coming in on Minnesota. So in that case, I'm going to give it to them. I'm taking Minnesota -7 because it looks like the Bears is the pick in that game. And again, all key numbers, right? We got the 3 in Jacksonville, the 2.5, almost a 3 for the Cowboys, and Minnesota, the 7. We're taking +7. -7 because the Bears are getting the +7. Okay, I'm just making a fool out of myself here. I hope you all understand it. This is extraordinarily difficult being by myself on here, but I think that's it. So to recap, Godfather's favorite part, and how funny is it, because we've lost majority of the weeks, how confidently he says the recaps. It's a it's a pretty hilarious job, and I'm glad I don't have to do it because he says it with such vindication, especially in the earlier episodes. But again, this is all for shits and giggles. No one's holding the gun over anyone's head, and no one's pointing fingers and laughing and saying, I'm smarter than you are. No, this is purely entertainment purposes, and hopefully we can lose out. And I would love nothing more to go down to Vegas at Circa with a brown blazer and claim the $100,000 check for last place. So, recap. Very convinced recap that these are going to go 0-5. We have the Kansas City Chiefs for the Godfather -4. We have the Washington Commanders -7.5. Jacksonville plus the 3 should be 3.5. Dallas plus 2.5 should be 3. And Minnesota -7 should be -6.5. So that's why I'm taking them. They're bad numbers. I'm taking them. I hope they lose. And the Godfathers are just, I feel like, very opinion-based. So that's why I'm giving him those 2. And I said no to the Houston Texans because, again, they are laying -121 and -20 at the 2 sharp places. And a 3 just at Sheba. It just moved to a 3. So that's why I'm not letting him take Houston. Okay, that's that. I hope this was educational for all of you. Thank you for the questions. If you guys have more questions, feel free to send them to me in a DM. Put them in the comments of this episode. I hope this wasn't too painful for all of you. It was a little painful on my end. I'm glad that it's over, but yeah, there's always a first for everything. So thanks for tuning in, and hopefully the Godfather's back with us next week. And hopefully we go 0-5, and hopefully you guys all understand now what is a betting partnership and how to go about getting involved with one if that's something that you're interested in. Thank you very much. We'll catch you next week.